Welcome to NATOR'S Game Picks, ladies and gentlemen. Quick recap from Week 7. 11 games right, 4 games wrong. Of the 4 games wrong, I had the Broncos over the Saints. I had the Saints over the Broncos. I got that wrong. I had the Falcons over the Seahawks. Got that wrong. I had the Texans over the Packers. Got that wrong. And then Monday Night Football, the second matchup, I had the Chargers over Cardinals. Got that wrong. Some notable close scores. Ravens-Bucks. I predicted 41-28. Final score was 41-31. A lot of close. The Dolphins and Colts, it was a 6-point game, 16-10. I predicted 24-5-19. So 6-point game right there. This is where you got to come for your picks. Nader got it coming. Let's look ahead. My overall record right now is 69-38, 64% win percentage in terms of getting the picks right. Week 8, and no teams are on bye. So that means we got 16 matchups to get through. Let's go ahead and take a look at them real quick. All right, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it. Thursday Night Football. The Vikings, coming off their first loss of the season to the Lions, are going at the Rams. The Rams getting a little healthier now, getting some players off IR. I think Cooper Kupp's going to play this game. Their running game looked pretty good last week in a win against the Raiders. They're going to have to do that to beat the Vikings here. As a Vikings team that was railing a little bit, Detroit took advantage of their matchups they had. I think the Vikings need to. I think the Vikings need to step up here. I think the Rams are playing young, are playing inspired on defense based off last week, and I think that can give this Vikings offense some trouble. They need to stay ahead of the sticks and make sure they don't have any turnovers. As Brian Branch had an incredible interception last week, thrown by Sam Darnold. But I do think the Vikings win here on Thursday Night Football. It's a short week. Rams at home, I see them matching up with their weapons. They just got to stop Kyren Williams and that Rams rush attack. I think the Vikings win on the road 24-16. Now we're moving on now to the Sunday slate of games. We have the Ravens at the Browns. Ravens dominant win against the Buccaneers, although they started a little slow. Starting to utilize their all-pro tight end and Mark Andrews just as much as Isaiah Likely. The Browns struggling on all cylinders. They just lost Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season due to an Achilles injury. I don't really know who their backup quarterback is. Nick Chubb came back, had a touchdown run last week. So expect if the Ravens can take out Chubb, there's no other threat on this offense for them. And I think expect Derrick Henry to get to go over the 1,000-yard clip on the year so far. It's huge numbers right there. I think the Ravens went on the road against a division opponent, 38-13. Moving on now, the Titans at the Lions. Titans lost last week against Buffalo, up 10-0. I don't think they had Levis playing. That was Mason Rudolph. I got the Lions are a scorching hot team right now. Just to beat the undefeated Minnesota Vikings last week. Now they're coming home. I expect them to steamroll the Titans. Really not much. I don't expect to see much from Tennessee unless they can keep the Lions offense off the field. But this Lions defense has been stepping up too. No Aiden Hutchinson, no problem. They did a good job last week against the Vikings. I think the Lions win here at home 47-14 over the Titans. Colts at the Texans. Another division, AFC South division matchup here. The Colts, 16-10 win over the Dolphins last week. A little ugly, but they got it done. Anthony Richardson still struggling to be an accurate passer. This is going to be a tough challenge against the Texans team that the Colts have been giving them fits over the last few years in the AFC South. But I see the Texans right here coming out after a loss against Green Bay, a tough loss in Lambeau Field, coming back home. I expect them to keep utilizing Joe Mixon in that rush attack, which helped them out a lot on the road. They couldn't convert in key downs and got field goals instead of touchdowns in the red zone, which is why they lost to Green Bay by 2. I think they will convert a few red zone drives against the Colts, but settle for a few field goals, just as much as the Colts. So I think this will be a close one of those division games. A lot of penalties. I think the team that commits the least amount of penalties will probably have the best chance. I think that's the Texans here. I think they win at home 26-23. Moving on now, the Packers at the Jaguars. The Packers are probably the second hottest team in the NFC. The whole NFC North in general is looking like the best division in football. And at Jacksonville, coming off of a win in London against the Patriots, I think they can take advantage of this Packers rush defense. I think Tank Bigsby and Lawrence can take advantage of that. But if they don't convert in the red zone, it's going to be hard. And if they can't hit receivers downfield, because the Packers secondary has been very locked down most of the season. This is going to be with a key for the Jaguars to win. I think they are able to execute, but I do think the Packers execute a little bit more, as I think Jordan Love and his receivers are just on a different level. Josh Jacobs got his first receiving touchdown of his career last week, so you do have him out the backfield too, whether on the run, on the pass. So there's a lot to defend for the Jaguars, who have been struggling defensively. So I think the Packers win on the road. I think they win 31-27 over the Jags. Cardinals at the Dolphins, another game in Florida. There's 3 total games in the whole state of Florida, so this is number 2. Cardinals at the Dolphins. I think the Cardinals got a big win last week, a much needed win. Marvin Harrison Jr. still wasn't producing a lot, but James Conner still running tough. Their defense was able to hold the Chargers to field goals. They need to do the same here against the Dolphins team that doesn't really have much of their identity, but they did come off a bye the week before. They are 2-4. This is a game the Cardinals need to extend their lead and maybe take the first lead in their division. I think they're 500. They're actually 2-4. They win this, they'll be at 500, and they need to keep up with the Seahawks and the Niners, I believe. So I think the Cardinals win on the road against Dolphins. They got Kyler Murray, just take care of the ball and keep feeding that beast in the backfield. And James Conner, I think he'll be good against the Dolphins here. I think they win 27-20. Jets at the Patriots. This is my upset alert of the week. Patriots at home. They lost to the Jets early in the year, 24-3 in New York. I think the Patriots win here because they didn't have their rookie quarterback Drake May play in that game. Not that he's all worldly, but he's gonna have a different level of. He's been playing with a different level of confidence than Jacoby Brissett, and his receivers are running hard routes, catching the ball. He's passed for 5 touchdown passes since he started 2 weeks ago. So I feel like this is a game where most people now are going to say, okay, the Jets should win this, but they're banged up. Their secondary is banged up. They have 2 safeties out. Sauce Gardner got a little nicked up. DJ Reed was out last game. So a lot of injuries, a lot of people gone. And as for the Jets offense, nothing much has changed. I don't think if they scored 24 points against this pass defense at home, I don't think the pass defense at home, they're. I mean, I don't know what to expect, but I think this could be one of those games because it's hard to beat a team twice in the season. Those division games, and this will be the one that I'm picking for the upset alert of the week. Unless Devontae Adams catches a touchdown, this is going to be an upset. If he does, from Aaron Rodgers, and they convert touchdowns, they get touchdowns in the red zone and not field goals or turnovers. Aaron Rodgers has thrown quite a few picks this year. I think the Jets will win, but I think the upset's going to the Patriots. Patriots at home, upset alert of the week, 27-23 over the Jets. Now we got the Falcons at the Bucks. This is these 2 teams played 2 weeks ago. This is their second matchup. It's hard to beat a team twice. I think the Bucks wanted that game back in Atlanta. They felt like they should have won. Kirk Cousins threw for 500 yards. And I think the Bucks here at home, they're missing Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. They'll both be out for a substantial amount of time. Time for their other receivers to step up. So you got Sterling Shepard, second team. This is the second chance for him. He was drafted a high draft pick in 2016 out of Oklahoma, playing with his former college teammate Baker Mayfield. The Falcons, they start to go up, and then they kind of just go fall flat again. So they have a lot to figure out. I feel like Kirk Cousins not being a mobile quarterback, unlike the quarterback the Bucks faced last week, which was Lamar Jackson, this will be a little easier for them to defend. And they faced him 2 weeks ago, and they're going to take away certain things that he was getting all game in that game that the Falcons came back and won. If the Bucks do have the lead, they need to play with the lead. They need to keep running the ball with their 2-headed monster, and they have a third running back there too. So I think this is going to be a tough game for both teams. Injury hampered, battle of attrition, especially the Bucks. And but this defense, I have some faith in this defense. Obviously, they're not playing against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, which they're now 22-1 against NFC teams. But I think the Buccaneers do get that win at home now over the Falcons when they should have won on the road. I think they win 27-24 over Atlanta. Now moving on. Now we have one more game in the early slate of games on Sunday. Eagles at the Bengals. This is a good matchup here. Eagles got their weapons back, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. They handle the Giants without ease. Their defense is actually a pretty good defense. But the Bengals here have come back. They won 2 out of their last 3. And I think Chase Higgins are being taken. Burrow's using those matchups, and their running attack is not to be slept on. Chase Brown, pretty nice out the backfield there. Zach Moss is their second back. And their defense, Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson, they have probably one of the best linebacking cores in all of the league. And their secondary too, although they've been torched early in the year. This is actually a good defense. This is a defense that matches up well against the Eagles. So I think that's why the Bengals at home here will be a close barn burner. I see some points being scored. I see some turnovers. I see some penalties. But I do see the Bengals coming out on top at home, 31-30 over the Eagles. Saints at the Chargers. This is the second window of games starting at 4:05 p.m. Eastern time. Saints at the Chargers. Chargers are a whole thing at home. I don't trust the Chargers much here or the Saints. The Saints have a bunch of injuries. Still Derek Carr out. Just all over like a devastated injury hampered team. I still think they can make it interesting in this game against the Chargers. But I do see the Chargers edging it out in the end, winning here a score of 20-14 over the Saints. Now we have the Bills at the Seahawks. Good matchup here. Bills and Josh Allen. Not a team to sleep on. A team that's definitely pushing for that for the deep AFC playoff run, competing with the Chiefs and the Ravens, among other teams. And then you got the Seahawks, who had a nice win last week on the road against Atlanta. That broke their 3-game losing streak. They're over 500. They need to win this game to take first place in their division. I don't think they do that here. I think the Bills just make more plays when it matters. I think the Seahawks maybe have 1 or 2 turnovers. I think the Bills have none. And I think that in the end is what's going to give the Bills will have the ball last. I think that's going to give them a game-winning field goal. So I think this game, although the Seahawks, if they can keep the ball out of their hands and force Josh Allen to commit bad throws and the Bills have to settle for field goals over converting in the red zone, I see the Seahawks have a chance. But I see the Bills walking off the field with a game-winning field goal. I think the Bills win at Seattle 30-28. Bears at the Commanders, battle of the first and second overall pick in the 2024 draft. Caleb Williams led Bears against the Jaden Daniels led Commanders. Commanders are a new team, refreshed. You see Dante Fowler, former Cowboy, had a pick 6 for a touchdown. Dorrance Armstrong, that defense is just playing much better. You even see Emmanuel Forbes getting a pick. Not much confidence out of him in his rookie year, but now it's starting to come in a little bit. And then you got the Bears, Montez Sweat, DeAndre Swift starting to become a threat out the backfield. They're utilizing him. And Caleb Williams is firing and finding his weapons. This is going to be a great game, but I do think that both defenses here come at a clash. I think they smack up the quarterbacks here a little bit. And I think the quarterback that commits the least mistakes wins the game. In this case, I got the home team coming out on top. I think the Bears coming off the bye are feeling good and they're ready. But there's just something about this the number 1 versus number 2 pick is going to be a good matchup to see it for the years to come. I do think the Commanders win because they're at home, and the Bears, unless they can run the ball effectively, just like the team that's going to be most successful running the ball is the team that's going to control this clock. And I think that'd be the Commanders, barely. So I think the Commanders win here 22-16 at home. A defensive slugfest, in my opinion. Panthers at the Broncos. Panthers, not really much going for them. They lost by 33 points to the Commanders last week. Now they're on the road again against a Broncos team that is quietly nursing probably the top 5, top 10 best defenses in the league. And that alone scares me for the Panthers' sake. I think the Broncos don't have to do much on offense, just play mistake-free football. Bo Nix can game manage. Cortland Sutton didn't even get a catch last week, and they still won the game by 20-plus points. I think they win here at home against the Panthers, 28-13, as the Panthers don't really have much going for them. Now we continue on. The Chiefs at the Raiders, last undefeated team, going on the road against the Raiders team that beat them once, beat them in Kansas City last year. I don't see that happening again this year. The Raiders are at home this game. The Raiders just can't muster up any offense, not consistent enough. The Chiefs, although they're not at 100%, their defense is lights out, literally lights out. Probably the best I've seen the Chiefs defense during the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid era. And for that reason alone, they're the favorites to go back and three-peat in the Super Bowl. These other teams in the AFC, like the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Bills, they have a tall task because this team is a championship-driven attitude of a team. So I think they win here against the Las Vegas Raiders 25-12. Not going to be pretty, but in a division game, it is whatever it takes to get the win. Sunday Night Football, Cowboys at the 49ers. We had a Sunday Night Football matchup like this last year. The Niners beat the Cowboys pretty bad. I think the Niners here at home, injury, they lost Brandon Ayuk to an injury. I think Talona Hufanga is still inactive. And then they have George Kittle was nursing an injury. And Christian McCaffrey still is on an Achilles, nursing an Achilles. And Deebo Samuel was out last week with an illness as they lost to the Chiefs at home. Another home game. They've lost 3 games at home, I believe. 2 games at home so far this year. The Cowboys coming off of a bye had a lot of questions to answer and get figured out themselves. Unless they can stop the Niners' run, they won't stand much of a chance. If they can stop the run, I think the Cowboys will have a pretty decent chance. And they need to mix up some things on offense, get people moving, get some motions going, run to the outsides, use your best running backs, and get in third and manageable. Don't be in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, because that's what's been consistent with this team and their losses so far this year. Their losses have been pretty bad. I don't think this will be a bad loss, but I don't see enough for them to overcome. They haven't created much turnovers as a defense either. And Purdy gave the ball up 3 times to this Chiefs defense, but that's the Chiefs defense, and I expect that from them. And that won the Chiefs the game last week. But the Cowboys, unless they can get the ball at least once or twice, and commit 0 turnovers on their other end, even with good special teams play, it's going to be very hard to overcome this Niners offense if they can't stop that run, because that's going to lead to open play action passes and big chunk plays down the field. And eventually it'll be, can you stop them in the red zone, which they haven't proven that they can do against the Niners in the past. I think the Niners win here at home over the Cowboys, 30-24. Now, finally, Monday Night Football. It seems like the Giants at the Steelers. Steelers seem like they're getting all the primetime games. Rightfully so. They're a good team. They're well coached. Steel City, that culture. They got Alex Highsmith back on that other side of the line, opposite of TJ Watt, and they was wreaking havoc against the Jets last week. I had the Jets being competitive, but I had the Steelers winning, and they won. I think the Steelers win here again at home, as Russell Wilson is their starting quarterback. The Giants, really not much pretty to say about him. I think Brian Daboll is probably his last year coaching this team, and it might be Daniel Jones last year starting as the guy for this Giants offense. They got a pretty solid defense, but not enough consistency on offense, and that's going to hurt them throughout this season. And I think the Steelers take advantage of that, and they win at home 26-9. That wraps up week 8. That was 16 matchups. This week is also going to be the hour change. So we'll go 1 hour back for daylight savings, daylight usage, whatever you want to call it. So these games will start an hour earlier than what they usually do. So like 6 instead of 7, or noon instead of 1 o'clock, Eastern time and stuff like that. So make sure wherever you are in your local channels. There goes your picks. There goes my picks. And I'll see you guys soon. NATOR'S out.